Hey, what is going?
Welcome.
Oh, go ahead.
We are at Daytona at one of the odd occasions to be the first ones for the league here running at the Daytona newly developed road course.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting race here. It's going to be the Doug's Custom Cycle Shop at the Daytona NASCAR road course, as I was mentioning earlier. It's going to be about 33 laps today. We got one green, white, checkered programmed in just in case something crazy goes on. 4 tires, of course, 3 changes if you count your starting set. And the fuel window today is going to be about 20 laps.
Yeah, we're watching qualifying right now, and it looks like Caden Rush is the fastest on the track right now with Gregory Hectus in the 82 in second place. And you remember back, we had Watkins Glen, Caden Rush, and Gregory Hectus were the stars of the show, and they pretty much finished the race with about 60% of their car. So let's see how today unfolds. We're not going to have as many cautions because these are localized cautions. That means that when a driver is in the vicinity of a caution, they'll be able to see a caution. But the rest of the track, the rest of the field that's not in that vicinity, they're not going to have a caution. So they're still going to be racing as normal until they get to the area where a car is spun out or some cars are wrecked together until that's cleared. I do not foresee us having a full-blown caution where everybody slows these cars down, or even a red flag caution, but anything can happen. This is new grounds for pretty much everybody that's on this track right now.
Shoot, it's new grounds for even us up here in the booth. First actual Daytona road course race that I think either of us have been involved in.
Yeah, I never thought I'd see the day. I was commenting earlier, this when I watch this track, I see some familiar areas inside this track where most of the haulers haul these race cars in, and we'll be racing on the same grounds that earlier a hauler brought this car in.
And Caden Rush already setting the fastest lap today.
Yeah, I've watched Caden Rush during practice, and he looks like he's a little wobbly in these turns, but he must have mastered it and got it down pat, because in the practice, Chris Severa in the 01 looks like he was going to be a dominating factor. So I would watch out for Chris Severa in that 01 during this race. I'm not going to curse Chris and say he's going to win this race, because we all know what happens when I call a winner. They wreck out in 1 or 2 laps. So I'm not going to do that to Chris.
And speaking of Chris Severa here, he's actually going to be second right now, and he's only about 0.3 of a second.
Bo, do you have the standings for the league presently before we start this race that we can go over real quick?
Give me 1 second. I'm pulling them up right now. So as everybody knows, Caden Rush right now is in first. He's got 3 wins on the season. He's obviously going to be coming in here looking for his 4th win on the season. Just get more of a jump ahead of everybody else right now. Following behind him in second is Stephen West, and he's actually trying to get his first win of the season. Going with third, we got Jay Felton, who's also going to be looking for his 2nd win this season. Trying to make sure he gets more points to pass over Stephen West. Right behind him, we got Brian Johnson, who's also got 2 wins he's got 2 wins this season. He's been a dominating car the past few weeks, and we'll see if he can bring home his number 3 car in first, or 4 car, I'm sorry. And rounding up the top 5, we got Gregory Hectus. He's also got a win this season. He's going to be looking up to bump his race up to 2nd.
Yeah, Gregory Hectus was our winner, I believe, at Watkins Glen. So can he win both of our road courses so far this season?
And Gregory Hectus actually had a really good car last week, too. So we'll see if maybe that brings in a little bit more energy this week. Oh, and there goes Mike Eames off the track during his qualifying lap.
We're going to see quite a bit of that. We're going to see a bunch of those orange cones flying all over the track. We're going to see some front end damage. We could even see the undercarriage of some of these race cars during this race.
And now when you talk about Daytona and cars being on their hood, you're probably going to be thinking about a rookie race Daytona. But here at this road course this week, I feel like that's going to be pretty easy to do if you're coming through those last turns right before you get to the start-finish line, those bumps. In practice, we saw many cars get really airborne, so it wouldn't surprise me if you saw cars on their head today.
Yeah, I look forward to that, and it's going to be a real hard race to locate the wrecks because it's such a large course. So we're going to do the best we can, Bo, and we're going to try to find the wrecks as they happen. Usually, when a caution comes out, we get a yellow flag, and it tells us, and we search for the caution, and we find it. Now there's centralized locations where those cautions will come out, and it's going to be a little bit more difficult to pinpoint where they're at. Plus, there could be 4 or 5 different wrecks at the same time in different corners.
And going into this caution sequence, I don't think we've fully talked about it. Pretty much, it's a little different at road course. I know most of y'all have watched road course racing of some sort, but whenever you go into these localized cautions, it's not going to be like where you grid up and everything just for that little spot. You really just typically tend to slow down, make sure you stay out of everybody's way, and there's some strict passing rules you got to try to abide by just for in the caution zone.
It's kind of like a school zone. You know, you come into a school zone when the lights are blinking, you got to slow down and pass with caution. And that's exactly what you'll be doing here. You're just going to slow down, avoid getting yourself into the wreck with a car that's been wrecked already, trying to get back under control, and just keep on moving throughout the race.
Yeah, that's actually a perfect analogy of what would it be looking like in a caution section today. And I'm going to be intrigued to see how big these caution swarms are. I feel like if we're going to be in like the official Daytona turn 2 and 3, the big, 1 and 2, the big turn 1 and 2 that we use for the road course, I feel like is going to be not as big of a caution swath as something like maybe the bus stop.
Well, something just caught my eye, Bo. As you drive down the front stretch, the drivers are going to have a big yellow arrow that's going to point them to a turn here. I just seen this in one of my camera views, and you'll probably see it during the race. It'll be a yellow blinking arrow that kind of points that you better turn here. You'll see that. Yeah. I think that was coming down the front stretch.
Yeah, they have 2 on the front stretch. They have the first one coming off of the official Daytona turn 4, and then they have the second one, like you were saying, going into the road course turn 1.
Yeah, it looks like it's going into turn 1. I just caught that on the camera view here. And as we go in the race, we'll try to point that out to the viewers to kind of show them. Now, that would be easy for me to see sitting here. But I'm telling you, just like Michigan last week, when you're inside the car, you pay attention to the cars in front of you. You're really not paying attention too much to those arrows or any of the directional assistance that they put on the track. It doesn't stand out to you. So they're almost driving this track by memory. They're remembering, hey, I got to go this far down the front stretch, and then I better start slowing down at this marker point to make my turn.
And speaking of slowing down, this is going to be a big thing. We're typically doing oval races. I mean, you slow down a little bit going into the turn, but you don't slow down something like we're going to be seeing today. These drivers are going to warm those brakes up a lot.
It does look like Caden Rush is standing with the fastest in qualifying. He'll start on the pole with a 1 minute and 50 seconds and 5/10 here. It's Chris Severa. We were just talking about Chris in that 01 car. He's finished second, and he's only 0.3 of a second slower than Caden Rush. Clifton Cockrell in the number 16 car is sitting there almost a minute slower. Or a second. A second slower. These minutes and seconds. So he's a whole second slower. And then Gregory Hectus is a second slower than Clifton Cockrell. So the cars are different in speeds. We have looks like about 10 seconds difference between Caden Rush and the last car to qualify, which is the 83 of Craig Johnson in the 15th position.
And yeah, only 15 cars to qualify, like you were saying. So it's going to be interesting to see how those last 6 cars kind of pull it out. And it's interesting to talk about. They are lined up on the backstretch, I believe. This is the backstretch, right, Al?
Yes, sir. This is the backstretch, and they'll come around, and I don't know if that's going to be the area where you start this race. Usually they'll start a race on a long stretch, so maybe this is it. Let's just watch as the pace car goes down. He'll kind of guide us through this. We don't have an idea what to call these turns. Now, you've seen some cars are going, they're not taking that loop in to the left, they're going straight. Now, you can do that, but there's a penalty for doing that. You have to slow down and hold up for X amount of seconds. I don't know what turn penalizes you for what if you don't take the turn, what the length of time is, but there is a penalty for, you'll see cars that don't make those turns and they go straight, either on purpose or in error. They're still going to have to wait 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 seconds as a penalty.
And the reason we don't see that right now is just because we're doing our first pace lap, and it looks like they're going to go green at the start-finish line like a normal Daytona race.
Okay, so they just started in the back. And it's going to be kind of difficult for us to basically be able to tell you that the start-finish is going to be right where it's coming up here. Typically, this is where it's at here.
Yep, green flag dropped right now.
And we're off to the races. Here goes Caden Rush, and he's got, yep, so there's the start-finish. We just passed through. Caden Rush has got a great lead, but Chris Rivera is right on his tail, and they are side by side going into this turn. And this is where you're going to see a lot of bumping and wrecking right here.
Chris Rivera took it a little wide, got in the grass, and he got, I think that's Clifton Cockrell that got around him there.
And as we come down this turn right here, this is an area where you'll see a lot of the haulers bringing the cars in. And as you see, there's fans on the left-hand side. Usually this is packed full of campers. I don't know if when COVID gets over, if that'll be back.
You'll see a lot of cars right now don't really want to take it too wide, especially this early in the race. They want to keep trying to single file in these unfamiliar portions of the racetrack where everyone's going to be trying their best to get through it.
But you got to remember, they're on cold tires right now, and they're trying to heat these tires up so they get the most grips. We're not just left-hand turn here. We're a left and a right and brakes and clutch. There's a lot of footwork and handwork going on here. Caden Rush has got a huge lead right now. He's a second, 1.4 seconds from second place Clifton Cockrell in that 16. And that is a tremendous lead because it gives him the ability to try to back up the corners a little bit and take it easy. But here is a corner that I watched during his practice where as he comes out this corner, there is that first dog leg, if you will, where he'll turn in, and he misses quite a bit. But it looks like he handled it just fine. Let's see how he does on the exit.
And right there, that's the turn we were talking about with those bumps on the road where we might see some cars go flying today.
Let's watch how he handles this. This is the first turn going into the infield of this racetrack. We'll see a lot of these cars hitting this, and you're thinking to yourself, man, are they going to tear up some suspension? Because they hit those turtle shells, as I call them there, those yellow bump stops on the inside there. If they hit those just wrong, they can go airborne, as you stated. And they can, it's not really just a little airborne. It's not like a 2.5, 3 inches off the ground. You'll see them a good solid foot off the ground. And if they land that wrong, they could have some problems. They could damage some undercarriage, they could damage some body, and that can hinder them in this race.
It looks like we're going to be having a little battle right now for second. Chris Rivera's trying to get around that 16 there. It looks like he's going to stay in line for now, as I believe that's the 87 right behind him also looking in there.
Yeah, they're going to have to, if they're going to make any passes whatsoever, it's going to have to either be in a turn that's wide enough to accommodate two cars, or it's going to have to be on these long stretches on the main track.
Well, that's probably going to be one of our main shots right now, as Chris Rivera is hard into the brakes to make sure he doesn't get in the back of Clifton Cockrell.
Yeah, he's trying his best to put some pressure on Clifton to see if he can make a mistake, because he really recognizes that now Caden Rush has a 3.3 second lead in front of him. And that's a huge benefit to him. But we've watched Caden Rush in the past, and he's gotten out to one of these nice sized gaping leads like this, and then he's wore out his material and his setup falls on him and he falls back. So let's see if that's going to be the point this week, as Chris Rivera goes to the inside of Clifton Cockrell, and he's going to get it. He's had the benefit. Clifton is not giving up. He wants that second place back.
It's definitely going to be a battle. Let's see if anybody is going to take it. Looks like Chris Severa is just going to run with it.
Yes. And he's starting to close in. He's got that gap between him and Caden Rush. He's closed it into 3 seconds.
Oh, the 87 back into the 16, it looked like. Either that or the 16 just got real loose there.
We're going to see quite a bit of that. We're going to have to kind of watch the field here to see. Right now we're focusing on the front here to see if Chris Severa can close in, which he was closing in there for a minute, catching up with Caden Rush in that 15, who's the leader. But he's kind of leveled out now, and he's still staying about a 3.2 second gap between first and second.
And if you want, we can back it up a little bit. I'm watching the 511 right now of Marty Walker. The little battle he has with Ron Holyfield of the 90 right there. Right now they're keeping it pretty clean, but just a second ago when they went through the bus stop, Marty Walker actually had to go through the grass and make sure he didn't get in the back of Ron Holyfield, because he's slowing down a lot to make sure he can make it through that bus stop.
Yeah, this is exactly a prime example why I'm not on the track, because I'd be more cautious about going around there and not tearing up my vehicle. And that would be, Ron Holyfield would be me on the track, and it's going to cause some problems when you got more drivers doing the same thing. If you're not confident going into them turns, you could end up ruining your race day and potentially another driver.
Yeah, here it comes right there. I don't know if y'all have the camera on it right now, but Ron Holyfield was early into the brakes, like way early. And it looked like the 511 was going to slam into the back of him for a minute, but he was hard on that brakes to make sure to avoid him.
Yeah, it's going to be that kind of way, Bo. It's not going to be a fun event for some drivers because they're going to get caught up in a pure accident of another driver. It looks like we have somebody down there right in front of them. Was that James Calabali?
I think they're already back down pit road. We'll have to look into that one.
Yeah, because I think there was one of them went into the grass, and I'm surprised that we have not seen a little bit more into the grass activity. We're watching, folks, these drivers are being very cautious. I'm watching Austin Bulkey in the 25. He looks like he's on a Sunday drive. He cautiously takes these turns, and then he gets back into the gas.
And just to confirm, yes, that was a 17 of James Calabai. He only lost one position from that, so really not a huge loss right there. Just got passed by Alston Wilkie there.
What we don't see, Bo, is a lot of cars that are out of control, like the rear end is spinning out in these turns. That's a good setup underneath them. They've got the right, tire pressures and everything like that, suspension setups and everything to kind of keep these cars. This is basically a road course car. It takes a totally different setup than you got when you have just a plain circle track, a 2-mile car. You have to set this car up with the right spring and shock package so it handles turns from right to left and braking points so you don't lose control under braking.
Yeah, and I don't want to go back up to leaders for the whole race, but I just want to jump up right now to Chris Severa. As right now, he's about 6 seconds. Well, right now, he's probably about 5 seconds right now behind Caden Rush. As they're going to be
traction quite a bit. He has lost traction.
And that's another thing with the type of track like Daytona road course. It's going to be kind of hard for us to gauge timing right now because some drivers are more than others because some drivers are on the straightaway and some drivers are through the turns. So just kind of bear with us as we try to get some of these timings correct.
Yeah, because what's bad about the road course here is we could say, okay, the 82 of Minazzi Majors is currently in 10th, but if he gets passed by Mike Eames on one of these turns in the infield, he may not be in 10th anymore. He may be in 11th, but until they cross the start-finish line, he's technically still in 10th.
Which actually has happened. I don't know if he got passed in the infield, but Minazzi Major actually did get passed. He's in 11th right now. Oh, and is that, I think that's
Tyler Mike Knight in a 68 right behind Minazzi Majors trying to get the 11th position from him.
And it looks like Jay Felton
Look at the battle at 68. Oh, he's going to take it to the inside. And he's going to push him up against the wall. They can force him to slow his car down, and he makes the turn. He makes the pass. So it takes Michael Knight up into the 11th position, and Minazzi Majors down to 11th or 12th. That's one of the battles. I'm just seeing what battles we have going through the field. Here we have the 54 car. He is in coming off, what is that, the last turn before you're going to turn 1.
Oh, let's see if we can get with the 5 car there. He's fighting with the 17 of Kalabali right now, and they almost took it too wide into the bus stop, but they decided that probably wasn't going to be a smart move and kind of slowed it down a little bit to make sure they got there safely.
Yeah, this is a good game of follow the leader. I mean, it's just going to have to be pick your passes safely kind of a concept. And as you've seen, when we had the pass between Minazzi Majors and Mike Knight there, he had to kind of get on the inside of him, and Minazzi knew he was there and knew if he did slow down, he was going to meet the wall by accident. So he decided the right thing for him to do in order to finish this race better than last is to slow down so he didn't wreck his car. And we'll see a lot of those pressure passes, as I call them, coming up, because you'll see a lot of drivers that are going to do that. But right now, the pressure is not on Caden Rush. He is almost 6 seconds ahead of Chris Severa in the 01 car, and Chris Severa is a solid almost second and a half behind or in front of Gregory Actis in the 87.
Oh, James Kalabali took it off road there. Oh, and he's spinning it down in the infield. He's just going to drive through the grass right now to make sure he doesn't do any more damage to his car.
Yeah, that's a safe exit for you. You don't want to take a pass over those turtles and try to get back on the track, because you're going to destroy some stuff. And if you destroy that splitter, your downforce, which is going to be very important in handling these turns, is going to be affected, and then you're definitely going to have a rough race car.
Yeah, it's a smart move there by the 17. He definitely got real loose coming into that corner, though.
Well, there is a 2.2 second gap between the second place of Chris Severa and the 01 and the 87 of Gregory Hectus, but there's still a solid 5.6 seconds between the leader, Caden Rush, and Chris Severa.
And Chris Severa's look like he's having a field day with that car, trying to make sure he's all over those key turn-in points. I don't know if that's the right explanation, but I hope I made my point accessible.
Well, like I said, this is new for everybody for us, Bo. Everybody's watching it. This may be the first time they've watched this. It may be the first time they've watched this on iRace. But this is definitely the first time that you've seen this drivers on this league together on this track. I'm hearing this is going to be the first time we're going to see NASCAR Cup drivers driving this track. And it's going to be very interesting because we had some practice with this league on this track. The NASCAR drivers are going to have zero practice.
Yeah, I think Kevin Harvick took the pole. If I might be wrong, but I think Kevin Harvick took the pole for this weekend's race.
Yeah, that's freaky fast Harvick. He's gonna do good this week if he just pulls off like we see Caden Rush doing here with a 6.4 second gap.
Yeah, Caden Rush is definitely pulling off a nice car there. And speaking of Chris Severa, he's actually pulling away from Gregory Hectus right now, going through that bus stop. He got a lot of speed going through there.
You might be seeing Chris Severa running a fuel mileage race right now. He knows he's got a faster hot rod than Gregory Hectus in that 87, so he may just be putting enough gas pedal to it to stay far enough ahead of him, but still preserving enough fuel, thinking that Caden Rush may not be doing the same. But we're seeing Caden Rush is pretty much, he's running lap times that are about a second faster than the rest of the field, if not more. Because right now, Caden Rush's fastest is 1 minute 50 seconds .619. In the second place, Chris Severa is 1 minute 51 seconds 7.9.
Yeah, and actually with the wreck that James Caldwell had, if you want to call it a wreck, the off-track incident James Caldwell had, he actually dropped his time by almost 10 seconds. It's going to be six or 7 seconds there.
Yeah, he might have knocked the toe off that thing. And just like a real race car, you can, knock these cars out of adjustment and they'll handle like garbage. You may not see it as far as the handling of your steering wheel, but you will see it in your times and how it turns into a corner. It may not turn as sharply as it did when you first started this race. If you knock the toe out of this thing, you'll have an ill-handling car. And then when you pit, you'll definitely see the tires taken off. Now, we've got 33 laps in this, and I would think the fuel mileage gap on this is probably roughly about 11 to 12 or 13 laps, maybe.
I think as I was reading the race facts earlier, I think it's about 20 laps.
Is it 20 laps? And we will have drivers, just like Caden Rush, it's going to push it 20 to 21 laps. Somehow, some way, he gets that hybrid of his, getting better fuel mileage than most of the other drivers. Oh, Chris Severa almost flipped over. We almost seen it.
And that's what we were talking about earlier in practice. We saw a lot of that, and I feel like if this goes on, we might have some more cars that just hit that bump there and might get some airtime.
And we have a driver sitting on pit road.
I believe that's going to be Manazzi Major. He's going to be a lap down. Yeah, that's Manazzi Major in the 82. I'm going to try to see if I can come in on his car and see if we have any damage over there.
Let's get a in-car camera view with our leader Caden Rush and see how he takes us around this track one time here, so we can kind of get a feeling of what he's dealing with in this car when he goes through these bus stops and these turns. If we can go just an in-car cockpit view and just ride with him through one lap and see how this looks from his view. You can watch by his gauges there as he comes to this turn. He's hitting that wheel and he's really left and right. And you can see the RPMs are coming back up into the red as he shifts. So he's downshifting into those bus stop and those turns.
Yeah, and they're actually going all the way to first gear. That's something that I really wouldn't expect. I was thinking more of like a road course track, maybe shifting into second. So it's a big learning curve here, watching these cars shift all the way down into first gear. And there's that sign that we were talking about right there.
Yeah, you can see how close Caden Rush gets to this wall as he's making his entry points and making these turns. And how he just battles. He has to fight with that wheel to keep it turning left.
There you go. Yeah. There was a little battle right there.
Yeah, that's going to tear up his tires eventually. You just see as he turns, he just fights with it. He's got that steering wheel almost turned a solid 180 degrees to get it to turn. So the more he does that, the more those tires are going to give in and give up. And he'll have that thing turned all the way around, and it's just going to keep going straight.
And it looks like he's coming up on some lapped cars here. That's going to be the 83.
Oh, he got that. Oh, the rear got a little loose on him there from his in-car camera there. So you can see that his tires are already starting to wear. And he's got 10 laps on his tires. So I wouldn't see it 20 laps, but he is 7.7 seconds away. So he can ride this thing out, and he can do a 15-lap stint, come back out, pass the car, and still roll on.
I think he's a little bit larger than 7.7 seconds right now. I think he's up to 10. Or I think it's 9 right now. Oh, wow. What a pass right there by Craig Johnson. Getting around Craig Johnson. It looks like we got a car stopped in the bus stop backwards. I think that's going to be the 5 of David Gervais right there. No, I'm sorry. That's the 43 of Paul Olsen going down pit road right there.
Yeah, I'm seeing David Gervais is still looking pretty good, and he's still moseying forward, so he's not the one that was involved in that. That would be Paul Olson.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and watch the replay. If y'all would just keep the live cam on, and I'll explain what happened.
And I'm just panning through the field here to see if there's any battling going on, because this could get quite boring for you just to see, you know, cars turning left and right and not really any battling going on. So let's see if I can't find some action here. It looks like everybody is pretty spread out. I mean, we've got the closest battle is going to be Michael Eames in 11th and Mark Love in 12th.
Yeah, and it looks like the 43 there he got a little too much into the throttle, and then his brakes locked up trying to turn the car, and he just went right into the wall.
Yeah, that's what I told you. If you abuse this, if you abuse the material here, it's going to let you know it, and it's going to let you know at the worst time.
Yeah, because that's going to be some injury. Oh, Chris Rivera's getting loose off the corner. He almost slammed on the wall there.
We've got the 54 of Mark Love is closing on the rear bumper of Michael Eames, and he's putting some pressure on him. But Michael's handling it pretty good there in that number 3 car at Monster Energy. He is not letting that pressure get to him. He's hitting his marks where he needs to, coming off clean off the corners, no spinning the rear tires, no getting loose or anything. So the thing that Mark needs to do is keep the pressure on him. So let him know he's in that rear view mirror. Looks like between Stephen West and Andrew Melvin, 74 and the 37. There's a battle going on there that they're trying to close in on each other. And let's watch the 37 as they come off that turn right there. That turn is where I expect to see a lot of damage occurring.
Stephen West looks like he got a little, I think it'd be tight here, but he managed to save the car there.
Yeah, Stephen West, if you're watching that 74 car, he looks like he's trying to get the right spot to pass him, and he's just not getting it. He's getting squirrely. He even comes really close to clipping that wall, and that gives Andrew Melvin an opportunity to just pull away. But Stephen West is not going to give up. He pulls right back into the picture.
Oh, there goes Andrew Melvin right there.
Yeah, I expect to see something with these two drivers right here. Stephen West is going to have to pinch him. And let's see what happens here. Let's watch Stephen West, Andrew Melvin, and see. We're seeing some blinking. Bo, is that we got Andrew Melvin that's blinking in there?
Yeah, I think that's going to be Andrew Melvin a little bit there.
So he's having a little bit of connection problems. He may leave us and come back in 22nd position or something.
And I'm curious to see if Caden Rush is having some connection problems too. I don't think Caden Rush's connection problems. I think he was saying something about his CPU issues, but usually it's not bad enough to do anything about. So I'm curious to see if he's got that fixed this week.
Well, I mean, if he doesn't, he has 10.2 seconds to fix it, because that's the gap between him and second place.
You know, it's a good thing about a track like the Daytona road course is usually we have some, like, how you like to call it, the Caden Rush show. Every time we like to focus on the leaders, because that's usually where the most interesting battle is. But here at the Daytona road course, it's interesting to see that we are all over the track right now.
Yeah, it's interesting. And in about probably, I'm going to guess, 2 more laps, we're going to see the Caden Rush show catching up on lap traffic, because he is literally about 12 seconds behind Marty Walters in that 511. So he's going to catch up to him, and we'll see if there's any courtesy given to the leader, because nobody wants to be put a lap down. Or is he going to battle with him and put out a centralized caution?
I mean, and right now there's only 16 cars in the lead lap. Obviously, that's going to change whenever, if Marty Walter gets past, we're only going to have 15 cars on the lead lap. But Cecil Keith has already went down pit road. I think that's why Cecil Keith is going to be lapped. Kenny Powell's already going to be lapped down. And then we're going to have Craig Johnson and Paul Olson a lap down. Both of them were involved in the earlier cautions.
Yeah, we're listening in on some of the pit crews here, and it sounds like Kenny Powell's having a little bit of a handling issue, and he may be making some pressure adjustments on his tires coming in the pit.
Oh, Kenny Powell's actually got a little bit of damage on his rear end. Curious to see if somebody got into him. By the looks of it, it looks like somebody may have got into him, didn't press the brakes down hard enough.
Well, Kenny Powell started this race out on a disadvantage because he had a connection issue and had to, I'm watching Caden Rush. He came close to that wall. But Kenny Powell had to reconnect. So he went down a lap to start. So it's going to be an uphill battle for him. So it'd be interesting to see how he does coming out of this.
I know most of you are probably curious if we ever panned in on Minazzi Major. I think it's Andrew Melvin is in on that team as well, and Caden Rush. We also do not know what "thank you, Zach" means. So if we have Caden Rush win the race tonight, we'll sure to get an ask for that.
Yeah, we know we're just thanking Zach for something. We have no idea. Maybe Zach's the car owners. Maybe Zach's a partner, or maybe Zach put the setups in for them this week. I don't know, but Caden Rush disappeared. I would have asked him, but he disappeared. Now he's back. He's having connection issues. It's still...
And I think we just got word from one of our directors. I think they were saying that Zach is one of their team members. So maybe some like a setup builder, like you were saying, Al?
Yeah, I'm pretty much going to guess. That would be my guess. I'm going to put I'll put my money on that. Or he could very well be a spotter. But is he a spotter for 3 different drivers? I'm gonna guess no. So I'm gonna put my money on that he built this setup this week. But as of every week, we've got Caden Rush. If he has the same setup as Minazzi Majors and Austin Bulkey, then he is the class of the field within that team because he seems to be able to handle that car substantially better than those other two.
Did you see Caden Rush go through that bus stop there? I know it was a few seconds ago, but he definitely hit all the bumps he possibly could going through that bus stop there.
Yeah, that's not the way you want to do it. But it seems to not affect him because we are pulling up to almost 14-second gap. And he is going to be right on top of a lap car here in a matter of about 4 or 5 seconds.
Yeah, right now it looks like he is in potential of lapping 12 cars very fast.
You can already see that rubber's being laid down. You can see the track has got a discoloration. Rubber's being laid down. And you'll watch Caden. He is staying in that rubber. He's kind of like on a wet highway where you see dry pavement. You try to steer yourself into the dry pavement. You don't want to be in the water. That's kind of what Caden's doing right now. He's kind of trying to make sure his car is in that rubber that's been laid down to get more grips to be able to handle these turns.
Trying to follow the snow lanes.
Yep. And he's coming up on the 511 of Marty Walter. Closing in fast. Marty's slowing down. He's going to let him take it on the inside. He's not going to battle him at all, and that puts Marty Walter down a lap. The next one coming up is going to be Ron Hollyfield. And as you pointed out earlier, Bo, Ron Hollyfield slows down substantially. It's like he's pulling into a parking lot at a parking spot. He slows down and takes those corners very cautiously. So it'll be just a matter of probably less than 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds before he catches Ron Hollyfield.
Yeah, I think the main goal of Ron Hollyfield right now is just to leave this race with a clean race car.
As everybody is. I mean, nobody has, I can't really say nobody, but some of these drivers have a big expectation that they're going to win this race. And some of them have the realistic view that all they're doing is turning right and left and trying to finish just not dead last. And that's basically where the majority of the field is right now, is they know there's, Caden Rush had a heck of a time. He got hard on the brakes there. I don't know if he's having handling problems with that unit or not, but like I was saying, a lot of them just want to finish this race. and just get it behind them. I've been in that position. It's not a very comfortable position. And I believe me, they're watching these laps click down and they're thinking to themselves, man, this 2 minutes a lap is just struggling. This race can be finished in an hour. And more than likely, we are already coming out halfway this time by. And we've already ran 34 minutes in this race.
And Ron Holyfield actually does have a chance to pass Chris Johnson. Have you seen Chris Johnson? I don't think he got checked in for this race tonight.
Nope, Chris Johnson did not come in at all. I mean, as same as I believe Brian is not in here either, right?
No, I don't think I see the 7 of Brian Tong either.
Yeah, they might have had a previous engagement and they couldn't make it. I hate to say they didn't make the field. They may have got a provisional. Sometimes these drivers will have previous occasions that they've got to, they've had adjusted on their calendar and they can't make the race. So what they'll do is they'll get what's called a provisional. They'll just take last place points. That still gets them points for the race. They can do a couple of those, I believe, in the season, and they may choose to do that. They may also choose to not be road course racers, and they said, I'm just not going to do this. I mean, they don't have the ability, I believe, to get like a Ron Fellow in there to race their car for them. They have to actually be the one racing their car in order to get the points. It's not like an owner's point system. They have to actually be the one behind the wheel in order to get the points.
Yeah, and Ron Holyfield actually is going to pass Chris Johnson if he stays where he's at right now. He's only 1 point behind Chris Johnson right now, so that'll definitely move him up to at least 13th.
And here we go. Caden Rush is going to take 17 and put him down a lap. That is going to be James Calabali.
And James Calabali is actually right under Ron Holyfield. So if Ron can get in front of the 17, that'll secure his spot for sure. And Al, I want to go back to Chris Severa. He's pulling down pit road right now, as well as the no, it's just going to be Chris Severa right now.
Well, I think I'm seeing Paul Olsen is still on pit road. Manasseh Majors is on pit road. Kenny Powell had a stop that he had a 13.8 and a 29.8 for Cecil Keith. So Cecil Keith might have had damage. But Chris Severa, is Chris on pit road right now?
He's already off of pit road, I believe.
Okay. He had a 15.1, so he made some adjustments. Okay, as same as Gregory Hectus. He was on pit road and had a 14.3, which is a typical stop. It's about a 14.3 if you make just some minor adjustments. We still have yet to see Caden Rush or Stephen West on pit road.
Yeah, Stephen West actually just now getting passed by Chris Severa there. He looks like he had a real slow car coming out of the corner there.
So we have 17 laps on the leader's car. Stephen West, he should be reporting at second as we come across the field here.
And there we go. Well, that's a halfway point right there. Lap 18 of 33. We got 16 to go.
And that took us about 30 minutes, I believe. It's according to my clock. No, we've already clicked down. We've only got about 30 minutes left to be able to finish this race up. It's going to be kind of interesting to see if Caden Rush, it would be a sad day in Caden Rush history if Caden Rush ran this race. Oh, we have somebody in the grass, and that looks like the 5 of David Gervais that Caden Rush just went by easily. Yeah. If you're going to pull over for the leader to get by you, you don't pull over in the grass, David.
And speaking of Stephen West going down pit road, there he is right there, as well as Jay Felton, Tyler Pluff, and Mike Eames.
Yeah, it looks like Austin Bulkey, which is a teammate of Caden Rush, David Gervais, Marty Walters, and Ron Holyfield are the only ones, except for Craig Johnson. He's on 16 lap tires. They're the only ones that are on 17 and older lap tires. So maybe they're trying to do a fuel economy thing here. They're thinking, oh, maybe we can get the most time out of this. It's not going to benefit them that much. They're already halfway through the race, so it's already been proven that you can go this many laps halfway through. But the farther, if they can get some speed in front of a car that already pitted, they would be okay. But they're not going to get the speed. The speed difference between a car that doesn't have tires or has not just pitted on tires and a car that has pitted on tires is roughly, let's see here. Let me point out, we have got Chris Severa. He turned a last lap, he was at 2:17. And we have got, well, no, actually, he is slower. Let's see what his next lap time turns out.
Yeah,
he should be faster than a 2:17.
I think that's counting for some of his pit road exit.
I got you. Yeah, because we should be around a 1 minute 52 seconds, like third place is reporting at right now, Gregory Hectus. And that's where you're going to notice. They're going to be about probably 2 to 3 seconds faster than the leaders.
Well, here we come right now. We're about to see his lap time. He's going to come across the start-finish line right behind James Colabali. And he actually got real slow right there. Yeah, there you go. 1 minute and 53 seconds.
Yeah, that's Chris's. So, Caden Rush is running. What is his last lap? Do we have his last lap pulled up?
His is going to be 1 minute and 54 seconds, but he hasn't came across pit road yet for his most recent, or start-finish line, rather.
Yeah, so there's about a 1.5 to 2 second gap in these deals between the fresh tires and the old tires. If you look at Austin Bulkey, he's in 18 lap tires and he came across the start finish line at 1 minute 59 seconds. So there's a 6 second gap between Chris Severa, who has pitted for fresh tires, and Austin Bulkey, who is still rolling on old tires. There's only 2 drivers. I take that back. There's only 1 driver right now, because I believe we are going to see Austin Bulkey on pit road right now. With that taken into consideration, Caden Rush is 41 seconds.
Yep,
in
very
front
good.
of second place.
Caden Rush down pit road.
And the gap between first and seconds is not going to close up that much. It's going to close up roughly within 15 seconds, but he's still going to have at least 15-second gap when he comes off of pit road from in front of second place Chris Severa.
Can we look at the 24 car of Kenny Powell? He must have got into the wall or something, because that car is more banged up now than we saw it at earlier. I mean, the back of that car is completely ripped off.
Well, I think Kenny Powell, he's auditioning right now for Pull Apart. He wants a new sponsor called Pull Apart. It's a junkyard. I think that's what he is. He's auditioning for that. And he's been doing that for a couple weeks now.
Maybe he's trying to get Doug on his side, trying to switch Doug over to iRacing instead of motorcycles.
Yeah, he needs to have Doug come and fix his car instead of fix his motorcycle. Yeah, the 24 of Kenny Powell does kind of look like a modified, maybe like a demolition derby car right about now.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, he's doing real well. The lucky thing is that even though it's hard to read the numbers on the side, we can still have the roof that we can see the 24. So we kind of know where he's at.
And he's getting real bumpy through the bus stop here. I mean, it's not just Kenny Powell. If we look at any of these cars, as they go through the bus stop, I've noticed almost every driver does it. They're bumping up and down through all that bus stop because they're hitting all those little bumps on the side of the turns.
Well, it would definitely jar your teeth. And as we finish that pit stop for Caden Rush, it looks like it is a little bit closer than I predicted. There is only a 1 second gap between first and second now.
Oh, where'd he go? He disappeared.
Between Caden Rush. Yeah, Caden Rush is having a little bit of connection issues, and that is the best thing that Chris Severa wants to see in his front windshield here, is see that Caden Rush is having some issues. Now let's see if Chris Severa can keep the heat on Caden Rush in that second place and not let him get so far ahead.
Yeah,
because right behind him, trailing 4/10 of a second, is Gregory Hectus in the third position.
This is the closest they've been all night. I mean, after lap 1, you just saw Caden Rush just take over.
But you're watching how aggressive Chris Severa in that 01 takes these turns and hits that. You call it the bus stop. I call it the bus wreck. You watch them hit those turtles coming into that turn right there, and Chris Severa lifts the left side up and then lifts the right side up. I mean, he's trying to get some air under both sides of that car.
Gonna be interesting.
And that cannot be good for the handling, Bo. It just cannot be good. Let's watch Chris Severa and take a lap here, and you'll see what I mean when he comes across. I think it's either right before the start-finish line or the turn after the start-finish line.
Let's go ahead and take it into the cockpit cam. Let's get a driver cam on him.
Oh yeah, this ought to be fun. I mean, if you had your lunch and you get motion sickness, do not watch this, because I'm telling you what, Chris Severa is going to get us to where we're going to believe this car's almost going to flip over here.
Oh, there it goes, right there, real bumpy.
Yeah. As you watch, he's going to here coming off this turn. It's either this turn, we have that sharp in and out turn, or it's going to be the one right after the start finish line before turn 1 and 2.
This is the bus stop they're coming up on right now.
Yeah, this is going to be a bus wreck right here. You're in the car with Chris Severa in the 01. Let's watch how he handles this.
Bump. Bump.
Oh, you really can't. You can't see it, but it looks like he handled it very well. Now let's go out of the car and let's watch. Let's do a lap with him and kind of see what it's like outside the car. We'll go on a. I'm just going to do a far chase and follow behind him here and kind of watch how he handles these corners.
Oh!
See that? Reckless. Oh, and he says, well, forget it. I'm not going to try to take the next turn. I'm just going to go around. Now, that should slow him down. You see he is slowing down a little bit. He had a penalty there that he had to slow down. And that's going to give a 2-second gap between him and second place. Or him in first place, I mean.
Oh, Ron Holyfield. I don't know if you saw that up in the sand on the other side of that.
Yeah, you don't get a mulligan, Ron. I mean, this isn't golf. You can't bring your sand wedge out and get your car out.
Nah, you gotta push them tires out of there.
Yeah, if you get stuck in there, then that's a real costly mistake. I mean, that is a 40 to 50. That's probably even longer than that because you have to have your car towed. So you may be waiting for AAA. Depends on what kind of insurance you got. Yeah, let's watch Ron Holyfield as he takes this. He takes it not so aggressive because he is slowing down. As we watch with Chris Severa, he had the gas on the pedal there. Ron Holyfield in that 90 car, he's just taking it easy around those. He doesn't really want to tear his car up. But speaking of tearing your car up, it looks like Paul Olsen took his to the garage.
And Chris Severa actually just got passed by Gregory Hectus right there.
Yeah, there was a penalty. I mean, because he came into that what some are calling a chicane, we're calling it a bus stop. If you don't complete that, you'll have a penalty, and that's what happened to him. He had a penalty, so he had to slow down and let Gregory Hectus go by.
I think that part right there is the chicane. The one on the back stretch is what we call the bus stop. And I'm listening to some team chatter over there, and it looks like Chris Severa said he's having some problems after he hit that bump.
Yeah, and like I told you, you can damage your car to where you won't visually see it, but the effects of it while you're driving, you'll be able to notice. It won't turn as aggressively as it did before. You won't be able to hit a corner as sharp as you did before. The tires are going to let you know. And that may be what happened to Chris. But nonetheless, Chris is running a tremendous race as he did last week. He came to win.
And I'm curious, like I know this isn't going to be an iRacing thing, but I'm pretty sure if you did something like that in real life, you might pop a tire. I mean, the amount of pressure.
You may bend a rim. I mean, you may be running around that track with a wheel that feels like you're driving Fred Flintstone's car. It may, like a war wagon, an old wooden tire or something. You may feel like you're riding around in the back of an Amish wagon. It may not handle that well.
That's a lot of pressure on that tire and rim right there. Whenever it smacks back down, you can definitely break something.
Yeah, because if you know anything about these tires on these Cup cars, there is not tread to absorb some of that the impact. They're pretty much a bald tire, and there's not much from getting through that tire. They're pretty soft. And I like to call those yellow bumps that we seen Chris hit earlier, I like to call those turtle shells, because they basically are just a bunch of humps connected together. And if you hit them wrong, it's kind of like if you ever been on a highway and you go off the road a little bit and it's got those little rumble strips. That's kind of like a rumble strip.
It's just more raised than one of those rumble strips there.
Yeah, definitely will dry your teeth out. If you got dentures, you're going to lose them.
There we go, with 10 to go. Oh, he hit the thing again.
Yeah, he has an ill handling car. I believe Chris Severa is turtly enough for the Turtle Club, and he is proving it by hitting every one of it, because this car is extremely loose. You ride with Chris Severa right now, and the rear of that car is just ill handling.
Yeah, and I think that's what he was trying to tell Gregory Hectus earlier. I mean, I don't think I think he just wants to come home with a clean car like everyone else, so I think he just let Gregory Hectus go by.
If you watch the racetrack behind Chris Severa as he comes out of these turns, you can see where he's laying rubber down. I mean, he is just literally laying the rubber down.
And it looks like it's mainly on his left side where he hit the turtle.
Yeah, he is definitely out of control here. He's definitely got some suspension damage. Lucky for him, he's got about 10 laps to survive. And he has a solid 20-second gap between him and fourth place. So he just has to maintain the speed he's handling right now, and he'll finish clean in third. Unless we have an incident where Caden Rush messes up and loses control, and then, you know, we still have a chance for Gregory Hectus to get in the mix of this thing. We have only 11 seconds between first place and second place.
As Chris Severa almost takes the off-road right there. I mean, coming through that bus stop, turn the second turn in there, almost took it off-road.
But we do see there might have been a penalty somewhere for Gregory Hectus, because he slows that unit down quite a bit. Or he almost got out of control and he needed to regather himself, because Chris Severa has caught back up with him.
Oh, somehow he avoids the turtles this lap.
Yeah, he's taking it easy. He's been twice bitten by that turtle. You know, he's not liking that. Those are ninja turtles. They give you a beating. There, whoa! Did you see that?
I did not.
Severa got extremely loose. He better just buckle down and take a third place, because if he doesn't, if he's trying to get second, he may end up last, because he's losing. That car is losing handling with every lap.
I was trying to do some fuel productions over here, and Hectus and Severa are both on. Well, Hectus is on 10 laps, and Severa's about 9 laps. And if our fuel window is correct of about 20 laps, it'll be interesting. Are they going to run out of gas on the last lap, or are we going to make it all the way through if they use some saving measures?
Well, they stopped. I think they stopped at halfway point, didn't they?
No, they stopped a little bit before that. Like I was saying, Gregory Hectus stopped 10 laps ago, and there's about 9 laps left. So if our fuel window of 20 laps is correct, it's going to be interesting if he's going to run out on the last lap, or maybe if he's doing a little fuel saving measures to make sure he can get at least 1 lap point.
I don't believe we're going to see anybody run out of gas. I think my math, Gregory Hectus has plenty of fuel, and I could be wrong. And for Chris Severa in third position, I kind of hope I am wrong. I'd like to see the man finish pretty good up here, which third place is nothing to bark at. You know, it's a really good finish. This is, again, he's a road course racer, and you know, he'd do a heck of a lot better than me in that field. I can tell you that right now.
Let's see if he hits the turtles. Oh.
No, he's staying away from him. He's been, yeah, but you can see he hit the wall. He got a little squirrely in there. He cuts the wall. That car is ill handling. All he should be focusing on right now is putting 8 more laps into this race. I wouldn't try to worry about it too much, because I don't know if he knows he's got a 20-second gap between him. But here comes a lap car. We've got to get around this lap car pretty clean.
Yeah, that's going to be the 24 Kenny Powell. There he goes.
You definitely got to get past him, because if he hasn't hit you yet on the track, he is looking to set a record.
Oh, watch him get real loose coming off that or into that corner. Sorry.
Yes, he is not doing very well handling. He may want to just back it down just a little bit. The spotter should be telling him, hey, you know, slow it down a little bit. Let's finish this right where we're sitting. You know, let's not try to get second place. We still could get second place. All it's going to take is an incident between Gregory Hectus. Hectus just needs to make one mistake, and Chris Rivera still can get second place.
Or so, if we have a Caden Rush mistake too, that would be real interesting to see, because I think Caden Rush is about 17 seconds right now in front of Gregory Hectus. So if we have a Caden Rush incident, that's going to be an interesting battle.
Well, let's run down the cars right now in their positions and then after we do that, we're going to have a small commercial break. We've got the leader. Obviously, we've been speaking about him all day. Some of you already seen him a couple, 2 or 3 times. That'd be Caden Rush, and Caden Rush is in the 15 car. Second place, sitting 14.7 seconds behind the leader, is Gregory Hectus in the 87. And the 01 of Chris Rivera is in third. In fourth place is Clifton Cockrell. Fifth will be Andrew Melvin in the 37. Sixth is 74 of Stephen West. Seventh is Mark Love in the 54. And in eighth position is a 21 of Tyler Pluff. Ninth will be the 8 of Jay Felton. And in the top 10 is a 3 of Michael Eames. Bo, take us through the rest of the field, Bo. Let's just run it right on through the 21st, and then we'll do a commercial break.
Yeah, and after that, we're going to have Mike Knight in the 68 and 11th. Behind him, Austin Bolke, the 25 and 12th. David Gervais in the 5 car back there in 13th. James Callby in the 7 and 14th. Marty Walter in the 511 car, 15th. We got Ron Holyfield in 16th. Cecil Keith in 33 and 17th. Kenny Powell in the 24 car in 18th. Craig Johnson back there in 19th in the 83 car. And Paul Olson and Manatsi Major have already taken it to the garage in 20 and 21st place.
We're going to take a small commercial break, and we'll come back here shortly. We will here. That's when we come back. We're saying, welcome back to the Doug's Custom Cycle. Welcome back to Doug's Custom Cycle 117 at the Daytona Nascar road course. We're coming across with about 6 laps left of this race, and it's been quite an eventless race. I never would have predicted that we weren't going to see any cautions. I even expected to see that we were going to be chasing all over this track to see some localized cautions. And we still may, because Chris Rivera in the 01 is trying to wreck.
And I just want to go back to make sure we don't offend our sponsors. I just want to confirm that they are in Mebane, North Carolina. So if you're looking to go to a motorcycle shop or anything like that, make sure to hit up Doug's in Mebane, North Carolina.
And from what we're hearing, they do a top-notch job on cycle repairs. You know, I don't know much about cycle repairs. I know that they need to be maintained in order to travel down the road. So if you need your cycle maintained, you may want to call Doug's Custom Cycle. Boy, I still, Bo, and I hate to focus just on Chris here, but he's the one that I kind of thought was going to do real well. And third place, again, is not that bad. But he is a fighter. He is refusing to give up. He is still pushing that car to its limits. And I think that might hinder him.
Yeah, he's losing. Oh, look at that. The 83 of Craig Johnson just flew through the cones there.
Yeah, that's going to be a penalty.
I mean, I don't even think he applied the brakes. He just slammed into the cones.
He might not have the ability. His brakes may be failing on him. So you may see him slowly maintain a regular speed so he can still make turns and not lose control. He may have limited brakes.
And I just want to switch over to the 90 here. Let's go back to our standing selection, as we were talking about earlier. For him to make sure he maintains his slot, I think I think it's going to be a close, interesting, and standing points between him and the 17 of James Colabali. And he's about a lap. He's one more lap down than the 17 there. And it looks like he's got some engine trouble, or at least he doesn't have a hood on that car.
Yeah, that's definitely not going to be aerodynamic. But at these road courses, you really don't have to have a full enclosed body. As you've seen, with Kenny Powell in 24, Kenny is still maintaining lap speeds that are faster than some of these cars that have a full body. Marty Walters in the 511. Kenny Powell's faster than him. And Marty's got a full body on his car. So some of these cars that have a full body on there, unlike Kenny Powell, the damage to Kenny's vehicle is not hindering his speeds.
I want to go, I just want to talk about some points a little bit more. I want to go talk about Stephen West here. Right now he's in second, as we started off the broadcast with, and his next competitor right now would be Jay Felton in the 8 car. He's 3 positions right now, I believe, in front of Jay Felton. I'm a little surprised. I thought Stephen West was going to have a really good car today, going to be up there with Chris Severa in first, second, or third. He started 5th, and he's back in 6th right now.
So he's battling right now to get around Ron Hollyfield, and he gets around him pretty clean.
Oh, Mark Love almost got into the back of him. If not, he did. Just a little tap there as he looks like he went up to the wall. Mark Love going to take the position from him.
Now, we've seen this before with Gregory Hectus in that 87 He's going to finish. Tables have turned. He's now second behind Caden Rush. Watkins Glen, he was first. Him and Caden Rush really raced side by side. And unfortunate for him, unless Caden Rush makes a huge mistake in the next 4 laps, he's got, no way in the world. He's got about as much chance of winning this race if Caden Rush doesn't make a mistake as Frosty the Snowman has lasting in the tannin salon. It's not going to happen.
Well, that was an interesting corner there. It looks like he did a nice job keeping the car in line.
And again, we have third place. It's Chris Severa. He's now gained a 23-second gap. So he's just got to survive 4 more laps. Basically, roughly about 3 and 16 turns. It's basically pretty much where the cars are running right now is probably where we're going to see him finishing, because I don't see any real close races on the track where I'm thinking that somebody's going to lose a position. Now, I take that back. We do see Stephen West and Mark Love. They're getting pretty close to the battling grounds. It looks like Stephen West is closing on Mark Love. He kind of wants a 6th position. So we may see...
Yeah,
may see a change.
And that's been going on for a few laps now. Stephen West actually looks like he's gonna be a little bit behind Mark Love right now. Wow, he gets a big run on Mark Love.
He's got Mark's coming into the turn there, so he has to. I don't know if it's the bus stop or the chicane. And they've got a fancy name for all this stuff. And I think they just made them up as they went by, as they raced by it. They just kind of screamed out chicane, and maybe that was what they called it. I don't know why they call these things the way they call them. I haven't dug into the history, because again, this is a freshly designed track that has not been a lot of laps placed down on it.
I'm not quite sure why they call it a chicane, but I know they call the one in the backstretch to bus stop, just because it looks like a spot for a bus to pull over and unload or load some passengers in there and then get back on the road.
Yeah, in our racers' case, they may be unloading some suspension there.
Oh, that is very true.
And here we go. We got Kenny Powell. He is going to go to the inside of the 83 and makes a clean pass.
Almost did a slide job on him.
Yeah. Craig Johnson cautiously pulled to the side. I guess he probably seen a car coming in his tailpipe there that had no hood, and he thought, this guy has hit some things during this race, and I do not want to be the next victim.
Yeah, he doesn't have a hood or a back bumper.
Yeah, but like I said, you obviously do not need him because he is faster than Austin Bulkey, who is a fully dressed car. He has a front bumper and a rear bumper.
Here they come, the 83 coming in on him too. Actually, he hit the brakes a little bit more than I expected, so it's not going to be as close of a battle right now, but interesting to see if anything comes from it.
And right now, Bo, we only have 13 cars on the lead lap, and we're about to only have 12 cars on the lead lap. No, I take that back. We've only got 10 cars on the lead lap. We may only end this race at 9 or even possibly 8. If Caden Rush can get past the 3 of Michael Eames and the 8 of Jay Felton, there will be 8 cars finishing this race on the lead lap. To give you a perspective on how much Caden Rush is gaining on the field, we're watching the 74 of Stephen West, and Caden Rush is only about 40 seconds behind him, which is, you would think it's a huge number, but it's not. Is that Craig Johnson? Craig Johnson he's pulling over for everybody. I think somebody needs to tell Craig Johnson, this isn't a school zone. You don't need to go 25.
I mean, he's not going through it right now, but we did go through the bus stop every once in a while, so maybe he thinks he is the school bus.
That very well could be. Maybe he's stopping to pick up some kids, giving them a little ride around the track. I mean, he is maintaining a pretty safe, speed for these kids to ride with him.
There's the 74 right there of Stephen West. Still hasn't been able to get around a Mark Love there in the 54.
I do believe that Stephen West is going to say to himself, hey, I'm pretty comfortable with 7th. I really don't want to push my equipment that much harder to end up with one more position. Where is Stephen West sitting in the points right now? Does he have to get around Mark Love in the 54 in order to move up in the points?
No. Mark Love is down there in 42nd right now. I think this is actually his second race. Stephen West is sitting in 2nd right now. So his real competition right now is going to be Jay Felton in the 8. And he's actually about to be a lap down in a few seconds.
Yeah, Jay Felton is about 30 seconds behind him. So as long as he can maintain a safe position and finish where he's at, he'll still maintain his points lead in front of Jay Felton.
And Stephen West, like I was saying at the start of the broadcast, he's the only driver in the top 5 to not have a win yet.
And amazingly, that's shocking. I would have thought we've already would have talked to Stephen West, at least 1 or 2 times by now. But we will get an opportunity. I have good faith that he is going to be able to do something. And here we go. It looks like we're going to pass by. Oh, that's Kenny the Madman Powell. He lets them by with ease. He kind of pulls over.
Now, is this I'm seeing we got 1 to go. So is this the white flag lap, or is the next lap going to be the
mistake? Look at the mistake that the 54 made. And they're side by side, the 74 and the 54. We've got Stephen West on the inside of Mark Love. Mark Love locked his brakes up coming into that turn, and Stephen West did not get his brakes until he was in the inside of him. And then they were side by side for about, maybe 3 seconds until 74 went around and put the gas on, and he was gone. So I take it back. Stephen West is going to get another position.
And officially, our race winner is going to be Caden Rush, as he's the first to cross the line. Chris Severa getting real loose coming off the corner, as he's going to be coming home in 3rd tonight.
A very good race for him. I mean, I wish I could have told him slow it down and not beat up his material, but he did finish fairly well. That was a hard-earned race right there.
Here comes Clifton Cockrell. He's either going to finish 4th or 5th because Andrew Melvin is right behind him looking to take that 4th place away from him. Oh, Cecil Keith just wrecked it in the chicane right there. Almost slowed down Andrew Melvin there. And Clifton Cockrell going to barely get it in 4th, and Andrew Melvin coming home in 5th.
And we're going to have Stephen West is going to come past us unless we get a battle between Stephen West and Mark Love. And we're not going to, because Mark Love decides he wants to do a burnout. And that gives a chance, I believe, for Tyler Pluff to catch him and possibly be able to pass him.
There goes Craig Johnson into the 74. Stephen West.
Hold on. Let's take a peek at Kenny the Madman Powell as he comes smoking across the start-finish line. Kenny Powell did the Evil Knievel over one of the chicane/bus stops. And it looks like he's got Puff the Magic Dragon in his trunk. What a show for Kenny the Madman Powell. If you can't win, you might as well be the most entertaining driver in the field.
Yeah, he almost flipped that thing.
Yeah, let's go back and watch the replay of how Kenny Powell finished this race.
And Austin Volkey's somewhere in the grass.
Kenny Powell's going to show you what I expected to see from drivers many laps ago. Let's watch as he comes into this turn. Let's watch how all 4 wheels are off the ground. He takes this thing airborne. He goes in, he says, "Yee-haw, the Duke's a hazard." You know, that's a great job. Great entertainment, Mr. Powell.
And I don't know if you've noticed, but Austin Volkey is doing a burnout right now. I think that's at the turn 4, maybe?
Why would Austin Volkey be doing a burnout? Oh, maybe he's doing a, hey, I'm congratulating you, because that is his teammate, Caden Rush.
Really interesting to see. Al, you want to run us through the top 10 there, and I'll take over from the rest?
Yeah, we have the winner by 12 seconds would be the 15 of Caden Rush. In second place is the 87 of Gregory Hectus. And in third is the 01 of Chris Severa. Fourth is the 16 of Clifton Cockrell. Fifth would be the 37 of Andrew Melvin. Sixth would be the 74 of Stephen West. Seventh is the 54 of Mark Love. Eighth will be the 21 of Tyler Pluff. Ninth will be the 8 of Jay Felton, and rounding out the top 10 tonight would be the 3 of Michael Eames.
And behind him in 11th, we're going to have the 68 of Mike Knight. Behind him, Austin Volkey, teammate of Caden Rush, the race runner. Right behind him, we got David Gervais in the 5 car, rounding out your 13th. Right behind him, we got James Colaball in the 17 car for 14th. 5-11 for Marty Walter in the 15th place. The 90 for Ron Hollyfield in 16th. We got Cecil Keith behind him. Kenny Powell behind him in 18th. And Craig Johnson in 19th. And then Paul Olson and Manatzi Jr. Not finishing the race today, finishing in 20 and 21st.
And that will be the ending results of the Doug's Custom Cycle in Mobin, North Carolina. And in case you don't know how to spell that, it's Mebane. It sounds nothing like you pronounce it.
It's going to be Mebane.
Mebane. Mebane, North Carolina. So if all your cycle needs are needed and you need anywhere from an oil change to an engine rebuild, I bet you Doug can handle it. So look up Doug's Custom Cycle and you probably can find him on a Google search in Mebane, North Carolina for all your cycle needs. As we watch we're not watching Caden Rush. We are still watching Austin Volkey doing burnouts. Like maybe he's celebrating that he finished better than 13th.
Yeah, and Caden Rush isn't doing a burnout at all. So maybe Austin Volkey just saw that he had a black and pink car win the race, and maybe he thought he won something.
Oh, we have third place in here with us, Chris Severa in the 01 car. Chris, a great race, bud. I see those the chicane or the bus stop or whatever. That was a challenging turn for you. Do we have connections with Chris Severa?
Chris,
We're
you
in the
got
in car. We're trying to get Chris. Well, we're gonna have to. We're having a communication issue right now, and momentarily we'll get with Chris Severa that finished third place. Momentarily, we're trying to make connections with him right now. Chris Severa, if you can hear us, please respond. Chris, you got your mic on?
Looks like he's trying to key up, but I don't think his mic's plugged in all the way.
It doesn't look like it. Maybe we can get some information from one of his crew members that's going to tell us maybe what's going on here.
I think listening in, I think the crew chief was saying they have some headset issues right now. Maybe that's some of the problems they were having with the race. Is maybe the mic issue is something with his headset going on.
Yeah, he hit those, the chicane, that bus stop so many times, it might have knocked the port loose. So let's go on and see if maybe we can get a hold of first or second place. Caden Rush in first, our winner, and maybe Gregory Hectus. We have Gregory Hectus, our second place driver. We're going to try to make contact with him now. Gregory, you got your mic on?
I got you guys.
Here's second place, Gregory Hectus. Gregory, I for the longest of this race, I thought you were going to be third place, but seeing you in second place, I kind of secretly was hoping we were going to see a battle like we seen back in Watkins Glen between you and Caden Rush.
And at Sonoma, yeah.
Oh, Sonoma, yeah, that must have been. All these road courses blend in for me. I don't like any of them, so I call them all Watkins Glen. This Daytona will be Watkins Glen next week.
Yeah, the race was a good race. Caden was just a lot better this time. He was getting better drive off, and this is definitely a Roval, not the road course. So I'm better with the stock cars on a road course, but Caden's been showing every week that no matter where we go, he's been the class of the field, and he's worked on it. I've worked on the set this week, but it's just been by myself. A lot of the guys on my team aren't doing a lot with this road course this week.
So what's going to be, what kind of a race will we see when we take this to the regular Daytona? We're not going to see this Caden Rush show.
Well, when we get to the restrictor plate race, I'm sure it won't matter. It'll be whoever can stay out of harm's way, right?
That's pretty much what I'm gonna run that race with you, Greg, and you and I are gonna sit in the back, and we're gonna stay out of trouble, and we're gonna get up there and finish 1 and 2. That's gonna be my prediction. Nonetheless, a second place for you tonight is nothing to sneeze at.
No, I'll take it. I knew with pace and everything seen from the practice room that it was going to be a tougher race, and Chris and I had a good race there. I was glad that we kept it clean, and I was a little bit off on the first run. I made an adjustment and came down pit road and kind of undercut him a bit to get the time back that I lost, and yeah, we went from there.
Well, it was a great performance. I know Chris seemed to fall in love with those bus, I call them turtles, the medians or whatever you want to call them right there, the yellow markers that were tearing apart the undercarriage of his car, taking away his handling. And then he had a mistake. Did it give him a penalty, or what happened there to get you in a second?
I don't know. Chris probably can tell you more about that, but he definitely slowed up coming off the one corner, and I got by, and I thought maybe it was because of damage or something, but he still had pace afterwards. It just didn't seem the second run wasn't as fast for him than what I had, I guess, or the adjustment I made. But like I said, the undercut got me back close to him, because if I didn't get that undercut with being the first one to pit, it would have probably not turned out that way.
There you go. So pitting early was a strategy that worked for you.
Yeah, I always pit early on. I always try to be the first one on pit road if I'm not leading, because then forces everybody's hand, and then getting closer to Chris too also helps. When you're racing somebody, it's easier to follow somebody than to chase them down than to try and get away from them. So, Chris, sometimes mistakes happen, and I made mistakes, and I think Chris had a couple mistakes, and then it ends up in the way that it is, right?
Well, sometimes a mistake is unavoidable, and I do believe that's what we might have seen tonight from Chris. And as soon as we have contact with Chris, we're going to ask him that question. But nonetheless, Gregory, you did a hell of a job tonight. Congratulations on your second place finish.
Thanks, guys, and keep up the good work in the booth.
Thank you, buddy. We'll talk to you next week.
It's over.
Chris Severa. Do we have contact with Chris yet?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
There's Chris Severa. He must have gotten to Kenny Powell's car and used his microphone. Chris, how you doing?
His headset.
I'm good, guys. It was a heck of a race with those guys there. To answer your question there with Greg, yeah, he definitely pulled the strategy with the undercut there and definitely put the pressure on me, and I used up way too much of my stuff after the cycle there. And he was able to stay right on me. I overshot the last chicane, and the penalty that it gave me, after it was served, I was still farther away than Greg than what I felt I should have been. So I just didn't feel like that was fair at all. And with him closing on me anyway, I just felt like it was right for me to just give up the position to him.
That's a great sportsmanship there. I don't know if I would have done that myself, Chris. So I commend you for being an honorable man. And but third is nothing to sneeze at either. Third place is pretty good. And for a while there, watching your practice, I kind of thought that you were going to be the one to win this race. And I'll let you know, I wanted so badly to say you were going to win this race. But my history with calling a winner, it doesn't bring good luck to that driver. So I avoided saying anything. And luckily, we see you in third place. And that's a one hell of a run tonight.
Yeah, I'll definitely take third, man. Caden, I absolutely had nothing for him. The drive off he had on every single corner, I wish I could have had half of that, man. He absolutely performed tonight.
Well, you did a great job, and don't down yourself at all, because a third place is a tremendous finish here.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Good job, buddy. I appreciate you coming in here, and we look forward to talking to you again next week. We always talk to the top 3 winners, and I hope to hear from you and Gregory again next week.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Great run. Let's see if we can talk to our race winner, Caden Rush. See if we can get Caden Rush. I don't know if Caden Rush knows his way here. He's only been here 3 times. Welcome, Caden Rush.
How are you?
Caden Rush, this is win number 3, 2, 3, 4. What is this, Caden? Are you counting?
I would say it'd be 3. Probably should be a little bit more, but we'll take it for what it is.
We're gonna be
another. This is 4. And just if you want to give me one of your wins, I'll take the points. I'm not greedy, okay? But if you don't want to count that one, I'll take it. Nonetheless, that was a hell of a performance. You had a great setup, and you seemed to manage a track substantially better. Coming through the bus stops and the rumble strips there, you seem to not get on top of them to make your car get out of control.
Yeah, those final chicane. I mean, man, from Monday till earlier today when they updated it, it was crazy. It was a world of difference. You could fly all over the curbs, touch them. You just couldn't. There was a certain extent where you couldn't. Now you can't even touch them at all, and it makes it a world different. You have to enter so much more to the left on the entry and just try and avoid the exit one. Even it's way different.
So, given this is a new track to us, okay, we just got this track. As the Cup drivers are going to be experiencing the same thing. Did you spend a good amount of time running this track to make sure where your braking points were going to be, where your turning points were going to be? How did you prepare for this race?
I've been running a lot of CFix mainly this week. CFix has really just been the main thing that I've been running. And I ran another league last night as well. Really, I hadn't tested the setup until the race started, or until the practice session for the race opened. Really, it was just the course is, you got to try to get the course down more than each car. You can get adjusted to cars easily, but if you can't get around the course by itself, you're going to be in a world of hurt.
So are you giving us a little secret and telling us that if we want to be able to get around this track in a manageable position, we need to go look at the setup on a C-Fix car and copy that? Is that what you might?
Yeah, you might. C-Fixed. It's been pretty fun this week. I don't know if you want to run it anymore after they mess up the last chicane, but C-Fix was a big help this week. Overall, I mean, the race is just good as well. really, I wasn't worried about the win or anything. I've just been more worried about extending the points gap and everything. I honestly, if I had only won one race and I just met Kansas the way into the championship lead, that would have been fine with me.
Well, you did exactly what you set out to do, and you did it in the Caden Rush fashion. You just rush your way right to the win again. Next week, I'm not even sure where we're at next week, but we're at Dover next week. Is this a track we can expect to see the same performance?
Oh, I don't know. Dover's definitely been a struggle. Fix there in the Cup car earlier this year was a struggle. Can't say I've ever ran a lot open there. I enjoy the track. It'll definitely be a challenge. We got the low downforce back on the car for that. These next 3 tracks are definitely very different from each other. Dover, we got the low downforce, a lot of banking on the racetrack, really rough. And then we got Daytona. I mean, that's up for anybody to win. Basically, it's going to be a wild race. And then we got Wilkesboro to finish off the season. That's going to be very different. Low downforce on the car, but with the elevation change on both ends of the racetrack, it'll definitely be different.
Well, you've got a sponsor on your car that we've all been sitting here wondering why are we thanking this individual?
So Zach, the Zach that we're referring to is Zach York. He is actually a member of Flying Arrows, our team. He is going off to college and is actually enlisting in the military and is going off to college. So it'll probably be the last time we see him for a little bit. Hopefully everything goes good at the start of college and just the start of enlisting. Really, we just all wanted to thank him, and it was a surprise to him until the practice session opened for the race. He was very surprised, to say the least, but we all just wanted to thank him. He's been there since I started with the team, and he's been around for the team for a long time, so it was only the right way to do anything.
Well, you did say big thank you to him and put him right on the spotlight, so thanks, Zach. We thought you were the setup guy, and we were starting to look up your name and everything so we can kind of see if we can do the same thing Caden did and give you $100 to give us a nice setup. But nonetheless, we're going to appreciate your service and good luck in college. Any famous last words, Mr. Rush?
I want to give a big thank you to Grayson Sullivan, Jonathan Dunlaney, Manazzi Major, Austin Balaki, Ben, Zach York, Michael Carey Media, and everybody at Flying Arrows who's really just helped us all get to this point. We've ran great all season. We've had some great setups over the past season or so, and we're just looking to continue on that.
Well, good job. You guys have definitely got a package put together, and you come to the race week after week after week with the one to beat. So good job. It's nice talking to you again, and maybe we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, Al.
Bo, any famous last words before we close out?
Well, I don't know if any of my words are going to be famous, but I definitely want to say this has been one interesting race. I appreciate all y'all showing up tonight, and I appreciate y'all giving us a little bit of a break as we try to learn this new adventure that we call the Daytona Road Course.
And I want to say thank you one more time to our race sponsor, and that is Doug's Custom Cycle. And I'm not going to damage the name of the city in North Carolina, so I'm going to let Bo close us out.
Yeah, that's actually going to be Meb in North Carolina.
Thank you, Bo. And from the iRacing Stock Car Association, my name is Al Kozlowski, and this is Bo Baker, and we appreciate you watching. And have a good night, and we will see you next week.